Hello everyone, welcome to my video. I'm Stella from Stellar Crafts. How are you today? In today's video, we are going to crochet a cute loaf cat together. It's super easy and fun to make. So let's start, come with me. We are going to need tapestry needle, scissors, a crochet hook. I'm using a 6mm crochet hook. Safety eyes. These are 8mm safety eyes. And a stitch marker, but you can also use a piece of yarn as a stitch marker. We also need some fiber fill. I'll be using a number 6 bulky yarn. And let me tell you about the colors we are going to use. You can use white, gray, a multicolored yarn, anything that you have in hand. And we also need a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn to make the nose and the whiskers. We start with a slip knot. And then we make 2 chains. Now we are going to start round 1. And for round 1, we place 8 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, which is this one here. It's the first chain we made. So we skip this one and we place the 8 single crochets right there. You can also start round 1 with a magic ring and 8 single crochets inside the magic ring. 3, 4 single crochets, 5, 6, 7, 8. So round 1 is looking like this. I'm going to place a stitch marker on the last stitch I make for the round. Don't worry if you don't have a stitch marker, just use a piece of yarn instead. In round 2, we are going to make 8 increases, in a total of 16 single crochets. So we place 2 single crochets in each single crochet from round 1. 1, 2. So an increase is when we place 2 single crochets in the same stitch from the previous round. So I'm working on 8 increases right now. I'm almost done round 2. I just have to place my last increase where the stitch marker is. So single crochet number 15, single crochet number 16 in the same spot there. And round 2 is looking like this. Let's move on to round 3. Let's place the stitch marker there on the last stitch from round 2. In round 3, we make 1 single crochet in 1 stitch from the previous round, and then we move to the next stitch and we make an increase right there. So we have a repeating block here, which is 1 single crochet, 1 increase. And we make that repeating block 8 times in a total of 24 single crochets. So 1 single crochet, 1 increase in the next. 1 single crochet, 1 increase in the next. 1 single crochet, 1 increase in the next. So we make this until we get to the stitch marker. The last increase is going to fall where the stitch marker is. So let's work on the last single crochet and the last increase right there where the stitch marker was. So now I have a total of 24 single crochets for round 3, and it's looking like this. In round 4, our repeating block is 2 single crochets separately, and then the increase. So 1 single crochet in 1 single crochet from the previous round, and then we go to the next single crochet from the previous round. We place a single crochet there, and then we go to the next single crochet and make an increase right there. And we make this repeating block 8 times all around until we get to the stitch marker. So the last increase is going to fall where the stitch marker is. So single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase. There we go, we are at the end of round 4. And I have to make 1 single crochet, and the last increase to finish this round. So this round has a total of 32 single crochets, and it's looking like this. Round 5 is the round where we are going to make the ears. Super cute, right? So we start making 4 single crochets. So 1 single crochet in each single crochet from the previous round. So we make 4. 4 single crochets. And to make the first ear, we are going to use 3 single crochets from the previous round. But we are going to use only the front loops of the single crochets from the previous round. So let me show you. Do you see when we look at the stitch from the top view like this? There is a front loop over there, and there is a back loop. So look at that. Front loop, back loop. Front loop, back loop. So to make the ear, we are going to use the front loop only of 3 single crochets. So we go to the next single crochet here, we grab the front loop only, and we place a single crochet over there. And for round 6, we are going to use the back loop of that stitch. So if you want to go ahead to make it easier for you, you can place a stitch marker on the back loop of that stitch, so it's easier to work on round 6. There you go. And now we go to the next front loop of the single crochet from the previous round. And we are going to place a double crochet in that front loop, a double crochet, and then we chain 1, and we make a double crochet in that same front loop. Look at that. So you can also go ahead and place a stitch marker on that back loop from the stitch we just used. Look at that. So we are marking the back loop of the stitches from the ears. And now we go to the next front loop here, and we make a single crochet over there. So it's a front loop single crochet to finish one of the ears. So to finish the first ear. So the first ear is done. So we are going to make that one more time. So if you didn't get how it is made now, I'm going to show you again. So don't worry, it's very simple. But in between the 2 ears, we need some stitches. So we are going to place 4 single crochets in between the ears. And these are normal, regular single crochets. So you grab both loops of the single crochets from the previous round. So we need to make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we are going to work on the second ear, and we are going to use 3 stitches from the previous round, and we are going to grab only the front loop of those stitches to make the second ear, the front loop. Look at that, the front loop. The back loop is there, the front loop is here. we grab only the front loop of the single crochet and we place a single crochet over there. So front loop single crochet, and then we go to the next front loop of the next single crochet from the previous round, and we place a double crochet front loop, we make a chain, and then we place a second double crochet front loop there in the same spot. And now we go to the next single crochet, the front loop of the next single crochet, and we place a front loop single crochet. So I'm going to place a stitch marker on the back loops. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So this is the front of the cat's face. And now we have to finish the round. So now we have to make 18 single crochets. So just normal single crochets. They are not front loop, only single crochets, okay? Just 18 single crochets until we get to the stitch marker. There you go, 17, 18 to finish round 5. So just a recap, round 5 is where we made the ears. So we make 4 single crochets first, normal single crochets, grabbing both loops of the single crochets from the previous round. And then we use 3 single crochets to make the first ear. But we grab only the front loops of those single crochets to make the ear. So first we make a front loop only single crochet, and then we go to the next front loop of the single crochet from the previous round, and then we place a double crochet front loop only, we make a chain, and then we make a front loop only double crochet in the same spot. And then we move to the next single crochet and we make a single crochet front loop only, and then we make 4 single crochets in between the ears, and these are not front loop only, and then we make the second ear in the same way as we made the first one. So front loop only single crochet, front loop only double crochet, chain, front loop only double crochet in the same stitch, and then we move to the next stitch, front loop only single crochet, and then just to finish round 5 we make 18 single crochets. Normally they are not front loop only single crochets. And then to help me to work on round 6, I'm placing a stitch marker or pieces of yarn on the back loop of those single crochets that were used to make the ears. So this is the back of the work and this is the front of the work. I hope that's clear. So now let's move on to round 6. Round 6 is very simple. We are just going to make single crochets all around. So we have to make 32 single crochets, but there will be some back loop single crochets because we have to place them right where we put the stitch markers, not on top of the ear. We are going to place them on the back loop of the single crochets right there. Do you know what I mean? So we are working on round 6 like this, and then we don't make single crochets on top of the ears. We go on the back of the ear and we make some single crochets there, and then we come back to the top here. We place single crochets where we made those 4 single crochets in between the ears, and then we make 3 single crochets on the back of the ear, of the second ear, and then we continue making single crochets over here until we get to the stitch marker. So it's simple. You just have to remember that you don't place single crochets on top of the ears. You place some single crochets on the back of the ears. So let's go. We make 4 single crochets. So normal single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we go to the back here. We place 3 single crochets there. So back loop only single crochets. So the first one goes where this first stitch marker is. And then the next one where the next stitch marker is. A little bit tricky, but we can do it. There you go. It's a little bit tricky to grab the loop there, but that's fine. We can do it. So the third single crochet back loop only behind the first ear. Now we go back to the top here and we place 4 single crochets right there. 2, 3, 4. Now we go to the back of the ear and we place 3 back loop only single crochets, 1 in each place here where the stitch markers are. So 1, 2, 3. And now we make 18 single crochets. So we start on the top here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on until we get to 18. So the last single crochet is going to fall where the stitch marker is. So let's do them all together, so it's not confusing here for round 6. Almost there. Last one. Okay, so we are at the end of round 6 and it's looking like this. So this is the cat's face. These are the 2 little ears. And this is the back of the work. Look at that. The 2 ears stick out. So we continue working here now, all around here for round 7. We never place stitches on top of the ears. I hope that's clear. We are starting round 7 now, and it's a very exciting round because in round 7 we are going to make the front paws. So we want them to align to the middle of the ears, which is the stitch where we made the double crochets right there. In my case, I'm going to make 22 single crochets around here until I get to the spot where I have to make the paw, the first paw, because this would depend on your tension, the tension of your crocheting. You're gonna have to adjust the number of single crochets you need to reach that spot. So in my case, I'm going to make 22 single crochets and it aligns perfectly to where we want to be. So for your cat, 22 single crochets might work as well, or you could make 21 single crochets or 23 single crochets until you see that the alignment here is good. So let's do it. So I'm going to make 22 single crochets. It goes behind the ear here. And I lost count. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It goes behind the ear there. $20, $21, $22. So I made 22 single crochets. Now we are going to make something that is called bubble stitch. And it's very simple. So we yarn over And then we go to the next single crochet here from the previous round. We insert the hook there. We yarn over and bring the yarn to the front and up. So now we have 3 loops on the hook. Just make sure the loops are in the same height here. Now we yarn over and we pass the yarn through 2 loops only. And we are left with 2 loops on the hook. Now we yarn over, we go to the same spot there, to the same stitch, and we do the same thing. So I like to call them unfinished double crochets. Now look at that, I have 2 unfinished double crochets and 3 loops on my hook. And I'm going to do this until I have 5 loops on my hook. So let's do it again. Yarn over, go through that same stitch, yarn over, bring the yarn to the front and up, align the height of your stitches there, yarn over and pass your yarn through 2 loops only, and you have 4 loops on the hook. Look at that. So we have to do that one more time. Yarn over, go to the same stitch, yarn over, bring the yarn up like that, yarn over and pass the yarn through 2 loops. You see, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on my hook, and now I'm going to finish my bubble stitch. I'm going to yarn over and pass my yarn through all the loops on the hook. Look at that. I have my bubble stitch there, and to make it pop up more, I have to go to the next stitch here and we place a single crochet right there. Look at that. So this is my first bubble crochet, which is my first paw, and now I have to make 3 more single crochets, or the amount you see that is enough to align to the second ear. In my case, 4 single crochets is enough, including this one already, so 4 in total is enough to align to my second ear. You can add 1 extra single crochet or take off 1 single crochet and see the number that best aligns to your ear there, okay? So I have to make 3 more single crochets. And now I'm going to make my second bubble stitch. So look at that. Okay, and now to finish our round, I have to make 4 single crochets. So this will depend on the number of single crochets you made here and here. It can be less or more than 4 to finish your round, okay? So don't worry if the number of single crochets to finish your round is not like mine, okay? I hope this was clear. So you're gonna have to see how many single crochets you need until you get to the first bubble, and the number of single crochets you need in between the paws, so you have a good placement for the second paw, and then the number of single crochets you need to finish round 7 and get to the stitch marker, because this would depend on your tension, the tension of your crocheting. So in my case, it might be the same for you too. I made 22 single crochets and then 1 bubble stitch, 4 single crochets, and then 1 more bubble stitch, my second bubble stitch, and then 4 single crochets to finish my round 7. Now before we continue working on the cat's body, we are going to make the face first. You can make the face in any way that you want, but just for your reference, I'm going to place my safety eyes between rounds 3 and 4, at approximately 2.5 inches apart. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's gonna fall right below the ears here, the middle of the ears. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you see if they align well, if it's on the way that you like. And then you adjust them to your taste. There you go, at approximately 2.5 inches apart. I think I have to put this one a little bit lower, and it's looking good now. So now let's make the whiskers and the nose. And for that, I'm going to use a tapestry needle and a 12 inches strand of black yarn. So I'm going to start with the nose, and I embroider the nose in the first round. So we have to make an X here. So I start from the inside of the work to the outside, and I embroider an X there. And then we just secure the yarn inside the cat. So let's just make some knots here. I like to make 3 knots so it's very well secured, and I don't even cut the yarn tails because, well, we need fiber fill anyways, so the yarn is kind of a filler for us there. We don't have yarn waste. Let's move on to the whiskers. So now with a tapestry needle and a 12 inches strand of black yarn, we are going to embroider the whiskers. So I like to place my whiskers under the eyes, so I like to start in the middle of the eyes here. So I go inside my cat, right there, look at that, and I like to make 2 inclined lines. So it's going to be a little bit inclined to the top here. Something like this. The second line of the first whisker, I like to make it slightly smaller than the first one. So I go under the first line over there. So the beginning here is going to be approximately at the same spot, but then I'm gonna end it a little bit before the first one, so it's smaller. All good, so now let's just secure it inside the cat's face. And then we are going to make the second one in the same way, and then we are all done with the face. After that, the rest of the cat is very simple, because we are just going to do basically the same things that we just did. So it's gonna be easier and be faster. So now I'm going to embroider the second set of whiskers, and then we are ready to move on. So look, this is my cat's face. It's super cute. And moving on, now it's very simple. For 6 rounds, we have to make 1 single crochet in each single crochet from the previous round, in a total of 32 single crochets. So we have to make 6 rounds of 32 single crochets in each round. We have to make 32 single crochets in rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Those rounds are all the same. Now I'm working on round 8, and I just want to finish this round with you because I have to show you where we place single crochets on the bubble stitches. So let's get there. So now I'm working 1 single crochet in each single crochet from the previous round. Alright, so getting to the bubble stitch, we are going to place 1 single crochet over here. And then 1 right on top of the bubble, which is right there. See? And then we continue on the single crochets in between the bubble stitches. And then we place 1 right there. and one right there. Look. So you count your single crochets, you should have 32 single crochets in round 8. Okay, so you do place single crochets on the top of the bubble stitches. Now I'm going to work on round 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And it's 32 single crochets in each of those rounds. Okay, now what's gonna happen? We are going to start building the cat's body here. So it's going to start to look like a cylinder. It's gonna grow this way. So let's work on those rounds, and I'll be back when I'm at the end of round 13. Okay? So let's work hard. It's super easy, just one single crochet in each single crochet from the previous round. And I'll see you soon. There you go. This is the end of round 13. I have 3 single crochets left to finish round 13. So 30, 31, 32. All done. Look at that. With the rounds, not with the cat yet. So now we have to make the back paws. So I want to align the back paws with the front paws. One is going to be approximately here, and the other one approximately here. This will not even match the round 7 here, where I made the first set of paws. Remember, I made 22 single crochets before making the first paw. I think for round 14, I'll have to make 23 single crochets. And then the first paw will align with this paw here. You see how it works? You have to adjust the number of single crochets before, between, and after the paws. So I think now I need 23 single crochets instead of 22 like in round 7. So 1, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's see now. 21, 22. See, 22 is not going to align. So 23. And then not even 23. So I need 24. And then I'll make my bubble stitch. Look at that. So I made 24 single crochets before my first bubble stitch. Now I'm going to make my first bubble stitch. Oh, you see? So this is trial and error here. I don't think it's aligned. This one here is slightly after this one here. So I'm going to frog the bubble stitch and frog 1 single crochet. So 23 single crochets were needed, not 24. One, two, three, four, 5. Okay. Better now. Look at that. Now it's better. So now I make 4 single crochets. And then I'll make my second bubble stitch. And I hope it will align with the first one here. Let's see. Yeah, looking good. It aligns. So I made 23 single crochets, 1 bubble stitch, 4 single crochets, 1 bubble stitch, and now I have to make 3 single crochets to finish round 14. 1, 2, 3. So it's gonna be looking like this. Now we are going to start closing this hole here. But before working on the decreasing rounds, we make a round of 1 single crochet in each stitch from the previous round. So this is round 15. So we have to make 32 single crochets for round 15. So this round is like round 8. We make 1 single crochet in each single crochet and 1 single crochet on top of each of the bubble stitches. So we are approaching the bubble stitch. So we are going to place a single crochet right here, a single crochet right here on top of the bubble stitch, and then 1 single crochet right there. And then single crochets between the bubbles. Let me just fix my stuff here. Okay, so there, a single crochet right there. Here's my bubble, you see? My bubble stitch. 1 right there, 1 single crochet right there. And then we are almost done with round 15. All done, look at that. In round 16, we are going to work 2 single crochets separately and then 1 decrease. So this is the repeating block, 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, all around until we have 24 stitches. So 24 single crochets, counting the decreases. So 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, go to the next, place 1 single crochet there. So they are separate, they are not an increase. And then we are going to combine 2 stitches from the previous round into 1 to make a decrease. And I do that by grabbing the front loops of 2 single crochets, like so, and then I make my single crochet decrease. So, single crochet, and my decrease. All right, so let's do this all around until we have 24 single crochets. Last time to finish round 16, single crochet, decrease. There you go. We can start stuffing. Round 17, we are almost done. So now we make 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease. So the repeating block is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. And we make that 8 times until we have 16 single crochets. 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, go to the next, and then you combine 2 to make the decrease. 1 single crochet, combine the 2 next ones to make a decrease, and so on until we get to the stitch marker. Last time, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. Now we have to finish stuffing it. because we are going to work on the last round. And then the hole here is going to be too small. For the last round, we are decreasing a round, so we have to make 8 decreases. Super simple. 1, 2, 3, and so on until we have 8 decreases. Look at that, we are left with a small hole over there, and we are gonna close it with the tapestry needle. So cut the yarn and leave a tail of approximately 10 inches. Pass the yarn through the last single crochet, and with the help of the tapestry needle, let's sew that gap closed. So I like to grab the front loops of 2 single crochets, pass the yarn through those loops, and then pull the yarn. Go to the next 2, pass the yarn tail through those 2 front loops and pull the yarn. And so on until you see the gap is closed. I like to do that approximately 4 times. Don't do that many times, otherwise you're gonna have a tip here. And we don't want that. We want it to be flatter. See? Enough. Now let's weave in our end and just hide the remaining yarn tail inside the cat's body. Look at that! Are we done? No, something is missing. We have to make the tail, which is really simple, so let's do it. The tail is super easy to make. We start by making a slip knot, and then we chain 2. In the second chain from the hook, we make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then, from now on, all our rounds will have 6 single crochets in each round. In my case, I made 6 rounds of 6 single crochets. And I have a tail like this that measures approximately 3 inches. But this is going to be up to you. If you want a longer tail, you can make more than 6 rounds of 6 single crochets in each round. Or if you want a shorter tail, you make less than 6 rounds. Do you know what I mean? So super simple, right? I have 2 rounds of 6 single crochets in each round. So I'm going to continue working on this until I have a total of 6 rounds, and then I'll show you how it looks like. But it's gonna look like something like this. There you go. So my tail has 7 rounds of 6 single crochets in each round, and it measures approximately 3 inches. So now all we have to do is sew the tail to the cat's body, and we need a tapestry needle for that. Let's cut the yarn and leave a tail of approximately 12 inches for sewing. And we pass the yarn through the last single crochet, and we are going to sew the tail on the cat's body, and my suggested placement is between rounds 15 and 16. So let's say it's here, and in between here, the ears. So let's start. This is a very low sew pattern. We just have to sew the little tail here. It's just a few stitches. Something else that I have to tell you too, I wanted to show you how to switch colors to make some spots on the cat. But this video is getting very long and I'll leave this for a next video, okay? So I'll post a part 2, let's say, where I'm going to show you how to make a cat with different colors. So a cat with spots. Yeah. I'm almost done here. So after I'm done, I'm going to weave in my ends and hide the remaining yarn inside the cat's body, and it's all done. I don't even bother stuffing the tail because it holds the shape well without any fiber fill. There you go. We are all done. Look at that. They are so cute. I love them. They are both so cute. Thank you so much for watching my tutorial. I hope it was useful and I hope to see you in my next videos. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. Thank you so much again and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye bye!